Hi folks, Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Coming to a blog post I want to share with you, of course, with you the latest in social media and technology. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Chris Voss and also the ChrisVossShow.com. We have all the major phone companies sending us phones, so you definitely want to be seeing all the latest and greatest that come out. Now, this is a phone that comes to us from Virgin Mobile. You can go to virginmobileusa.com. That's virginmobileusa.com to take and pick one of these up, or see many of the other wonderful phones we've taken and reviewed from the folks at Virgin Mobile. They have a system that seems very popular from the comments we've gotten from our YouTube videos, where you pay for a phone up front and you basically go month to month in your contract. They have really great phones, even though they're a pay up front service, and you can get great Android phones from them. So let's take a look at the device and how it works. This is the Kyocera. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but we'll go with that. Kyocera Rise. And this is basically their Android phone that works with the T-Mobile system. T-Mobile system, if you're not familiar with it, is owned by Sprint, so they operate on the Sprint networks. This is a 3G phone, so it doesn't have 4G capability. Let's see. And then also, what's really cool is this has a QWERTY text keyboard that slides out. We'll show you that here in a bit, which is really cool. An expandable memory slot and all that good stuff. So, let's take a look at the device. It stands at 4.45 in height, 2.38 inches in width, and 0.56 inches in thickness. 5.54 ounces is the weight. It has a 1500 milliamp lithium removable battery. It has LCD color TFT resolution 320 by 480 pixels, 3.5 diagonal screen with IPS display. It comes starting running with the Android version 4.03. It's got a processor, 1 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon S2. It's got 2 gigabytes of internal storage and 512 megabytes of RAM. There's also 2 gigabytes of additional card storage you can use that comes with a card that's included. I guess it's a micro SD card. On top of that, with the microSD, you can take and use that to expand the memory. It supports up to 32 gigabytes expandable memory. It has a rear-facing camera of 3 megapixels, no front-facing camera. It's WVGA 480p at 30 frames per second. So that gives us the rundown on the device, how it works, how it runs. Let's take a look at it. And of course, it's running on Android. Let's take and double-check that this is still running on Android 4.03. We want to make sure, because many of the phones that we're using right now have been upgraded to a much higher thing, where they've gone up to 4.04. So let's take and make sure we know where this one is at. Looks like this one has been upgraded. Indeed, it is running on version 4.04. So that's the sample that you'll be seeing here as we go through this. It has pretty much the widgets and everything that you would have with a normal Android device. You can, of course, add live wallpapers and all that good stuff. You can access recent menus. You have full control of the device. A lot of people like the customization features you can take and do with Android devices. With the notification menu, pretty simple notification menu that it's got there. On the top, you've got kind of a small inlet hole, which is probably a speaker for getting calls and talking on the phone, all that good stuff. On the bottom, on the menu, we have a back button, a home button, a recent apps button, or whatever's open, and then, of course, we have a menu button over here on the right-hand side. So all those to take and control your device. Let's take a look at the back of the device. Now, on the back of the device, we have your camera eye, your lamp, flash. We have a mirror, of course, if you want to take and do stuff. We have your speaker here, if you will. The device has a fold-out keyboard, so that's what you can see here. So it folds out and all that good stuff. And you can take and utilize the keyboard. A lot of people like this. It feels more comfortable, etc., etc. So you can have that, and of course it slides very nicely back into and under the device and acts as part of the device. Now, what you can also do is pull off the back. Back is removable, and in removing the back, you can pull out the battery, and of course, be able to flip batteries if you so choose. And that's might be your thing that you really are into, is having spare batteries and flipping them out. Down the side of the device, you can see here we have a rocker, volume up and volume down for your sound. We have the micro USB plug-in port for charging and syncing. Bottom of the device, nothing much to see here. On the right-hand side of the device, you have a power button. This is the camera shutter button. Excuse me, the camera shutter button is right here, and a little inlet to take and pull the back off. On the top, we have your your earphone hole and your power button. Boy, I can't get anything right, can I? Speed test wise, this is of course is a test that's run on the Virgin Mobile, which is run on Sprint's 3G network. It does not have 4G capability. So you can see the scores that it took and did here using the 3G network. Okay, so here we can see the Geekbench 2 score. This comes in with the Geekbench 2 is kind of the benchmarks of benchmarks. So a lot of people see this as the core benchmarking score. It comes in at 473. You can see here integer 369, floating point 509, memory 689, and stream 285. You can see here the device is a 1.02 gigahertz processor and Android 4.04. We'll just page down through some of this. You can go ahead and pause this at any time if you want to take and see some of this data. A lot of it's pretty irrelevant, but some people, I guess, really enjoy it. So there you have it, the Geekbench test score. Okay, now here you can see the Antutu benchmark 2.9.3 test. This scored 3369. You can see the RAM, CPU, integer numbers, all that sort of good stuff down the side here. Okay, so here we have the Kyocera Passmark performance test. The system scored 1072. Let's page down and take a look at the CPU test. We scored 1238 on the CPU test. Disk test 1458. Memory test 1445. 2D graphic test 1802. 3D graphic tests at 470. Here you can see the display test that we're taking and doing, and it looks like it might be pixelating a little bit on our screen, but it does look very good on the screen that we're looking at it. I'm not sure how well it's passing through the other device that's recording. So it's got good colors. They're a little faint and not as sharp and clear as we've seen on other Android devices, but the devices we've seen those on are much more expensive and heavier duty phones. So it does seem to have an ample amount of display that it can provide. Okay, so using the quadrant standard test, you can see here that the device scored 2306. It's a pretty good score. And you can see how it fared against some of its other competitors. Okay, so here we have the CF Bench Pro 1.2 benchmark that we've taken done on the device. You can see here some of the different breakdowns of scoring. It's got the build platform, cores, megahertz, all that sort of good stuff, Java stuff, memory, native stuff, all that sort of numbers. You can pause this at any time if you really wish to see all the devices. The overall score was 2481 that it scored, and it looks like it scored down here by the HTC Hero, HTC Sensation, below the Samsung Galaxy S2, I should say. That's the same thing, right? Okay, now here what we're doing is a GPS test. We're testing the ability of the phone to pick up as many GPS satellites as it can and see where it can find itself on the planet. It's doing a pretty good job. It's finding itself with an accuracy of 10 feet, which is nominal for most devices. I don't see anybody getting close to that. This here is the billion counter test, and what this does is this tells us how quickly a device can process and count to 1 billion. So you can see here that the Kyocera took and did it in 54.42 seconds. Here you can see the Vlamo test, and this tests a lot of different HTML stuff. It's scored 1191, and on the Spindle score, it scored 288. Okay, so here you can see the Antutu 3D benchmark rating. This shows that it scored a result in the 3D testing of 3415. Okay, here we can see this is using the Bench test. This tests the native and Java threads on the device to see how it processes them. You can see here it processed 1381 and native threads and Java threads 64. All right, here's the SQL test, and what this does is this measures several different aspects of the device using the RL Benchmark app. Inserts, indexes, creating stuff, dropping tables, all that sort of good stuff. It scored overall 45.437 seconds. Okay, so here you can see we've got some results using the GL Benchmark 2.5.1 app for benchmarking. You can see here that on the Egyptian Classic or Egypt Classic 2.1, we scored 6412 frames at 57 frames per second. On the off-screen Classic, we scored 1137 frames at 10 frames per second. Here you can see the Kfs Benchmark Scores. Overall, it scored frames per second 25.247. Okay, here we can see the browser mark rightware score. It scored 52,302 that is scored off of the web browser that normally comes standard on the device. Okay, so here's our SunSpider test, and of course what this does is test the Java serve of the browser and some other things. It scored 2846.8 ms. This, of course, the lowest score is what you really want to take and have here with the SunSpider browser score. All right, so let's take a look at the camera on the Kyocera. It's got a handy little camera. That's what I'd probably call it. I mean, obviously, if you're buying a phone like this, you're probably not looking to spend a lot of money on the camera. You do have a zoom effect, and you do have settings. There's, of course, settings that come with most Android devices. A lot of people like the ability to customize the device. You can choose size of your shots and all that good stuff. There's color effects you can take and add, auto exposure, and not much else other than that. It's pretty simple menu that they give you. You can easily switch here between your video and your camera modes just by doing that. So it's kind of interesting. Let's put it that way. I mean, it's a 5 megapixel back camera. So let's take a look at the shots that we got out of the device. Here is a completely dark shot that we took. This is in complete blackness when it's shot. Really poor experience with the flash. This is actually the lamp. I should say the lamp on the camera. Not great color detail, as you can see there on the picture in the background, where normally most phones would do that. But once again, this camera may not be your highest priority in getting this phone. Here's another picture using the flash, and you can see we're getting a lot of blowout, not a lot of clarity of color, a lot of blowout with the flash, and not a lot of sharpness to the picture. So it's not a great dark camera. Here's another picture where we're using a really hard, heavy color, seeing how it bounces back at us and everything else. Let's take a look. You can see the floor there. It's definitely a 5 megapixel camera. It probably acts more like a 3. But it's okay if camera isn't your highest priority. It's a great little phone otherwise, especially if you're looking to text, yickety-yak, and all that good stuff. If photo work isn't your greatest thing, it'll get you by. But pretty unimpressed with the camera, to be quite honest with you. But you really can't expect a great camera in this price point of phone anyway. And most people that probably will get this isn't going to be their thing. You can, of course, share pictures that you can take and do through a myriad of different resources and apps that you may have downloaded to the device.